Hello, my drunken Buddhas. Today I feel stuck, like I'm failing, like a failure, like I kind of fucked up, made a mistake, and it's unpleasant. I feel tight, stuck. There's this shard in my chest, and there's just been this sort of lurking sense, very deep down, of being kind of worthless. And I'm quite aware of all of this, and very briefly, I might talk a bit more about this at the end. I'm going to use this time just to kind of contemplate on this idea of what's actually happening when these things are, when we're feeling like we're stuck, struggling, failing, and so on. Very briefly, I went away for a week for a bit of a solo retreat, which turned out to be more like a bit of a physical and mental collapse of just watching, YouTube and just watching a bit too much porn, and because I ate some food I shouldn't have eaten. I was ill for 2 days. My gut's very sensitive, going through some stuff, and it's just been a bit of an epic fail. And I'm trying to figure out what to do with this. And it seems to me, when this happens in us, it's almost like it's pointing. I always notice whenever I start acting out, watching tons of screen time. I noticed there's this big part of me. This just came up to going, I want to numb out. I want to numb out. I just can't be fucked with any of this. Just let me numb out, please, please, please. Just like if that part had completely had its way, it's like, okay, let's just smoke weed, watch Netflix, just forget about everything, just do whatever I can just to tune out as much as possible. And that's always a sign. I've noticed that a few days later, you'll start to notice stuff bubbling up. It's like you start to react. Your coping mechanisms kick in before the actual deeper stuff starts to arrive, and you've got to kind of recognize this pattern and notice it again and again and again. Otherwise, you'll start to panic, as I did a little bit. But it's by the end, and I've kind of figured out what's happened at the end of this retreat. I've come out to the countryside, just in case you were wondering what this was. Up in Yorkshire. The key point is that to notice that there's, whenever we start going crazy, going a bit mad, acting out, it's almost always that there's these deeper movements going on, right? And I've noticed that when I sit down and then just really give them space, it will start to creep up bit by bit. So there's lots of some tears, some tension. It's like I can feel my whole body resisting this sense of worthlessness that's starting to come up from the bottom. And it reminds me, I like listening to this spiritual teacher John Butler quite a lot, and I saw some video when I was trying to numb out on YouTube this morning. Where someone asked him a question of like, I don't really know. I'm not interested in career. I feel kind of stuck. I don't really, what everyone else is doing just doesn't really appeal. Like, what the hell do I do? He's like, well, count it. It's a great blessing. It's a great blessing. Most people don't get what they want out of life. Most people don't proceed on the spiritual path very far because they aren't sufficiently unhappy. And I think there's a great truth in this. I always feel that the most painful things that have happened to me have been precisely those that pushed me into really determined, focused work. Not that it has to go that way, but there needs to be some commitment, a committed sort of intention, you could call it then, rather than framing it in terms of work, to go deeper, to look for more, to look and go beyond. And that has led to discoveries which I would not trade for anything. And it's easy for me to forget in these moments when I'm feeling so stuck and like a failure again. I feel like it's almost like I've never done any work at all. I'm just a noob back at square one, just struggling with basic just to get through the day almost. But it's always a sign of really deeper stuff coming up to the surface to be felt and transmuted. Like this deep sense of worthlessness that's coming up in me. I mean, would I rather it be coming up in me, or that, and it driving me crazy and making me act out and you know, ruin my solo retreat? Would I rather it, you know, it was kept at bay and I did my solo retreat perfectly, like a perfect monk, or that this deeper sense of worthlessness, which is probably halfway driving a lot of the intention and my desire to like be some perfect monk, come to the surface to be felt and let go of? In this way, even entire life of failure, if used well, if we have the willingness, the intention to look at what it's showing us, is indeed a great blessing. To the ego, it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like its worst nightmare, which is precisely the point, right? That precisely shows where we're holding on, hanging out, got some subtle future image of success that I'm clinging onto. And this is it. I don't think God really gives a shit about success. His aims are higher, and I use God very in sort of a loosely metaphorical term. I just mean reality. Reality's aims are higher than just success. And success may come, you know, as part of that. Who knows? But we've got to remember, what happens in life is never what it seems on the surface, ever, 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 ever. It's always pointing to something else. It's pointing out something within us. It's a mirror of ourselves, endlessly. We are walking in an endless house of mirrors, and it's like we're trying to change and manipulate the mirror. It's like, I want success, I'm going to change the world out there. So I'm going to try and make this mirror, make it be a smiley face in the mirror. Yet really, we just want to make a smiley face over here, and then the whole world will be mirrored with smiley faces, right? What we feel and perceive about ourselves is what we feel and perceive about reality. I think this is the lesson of the struggle and the failure. It's pointing to something that's coming up within us that will help us smile more deeply within, which is the only real success. And as I say that, there are two deer playing and running in front of me. I'll take that as a sign of some kind. Beautiful. Okay. Peace out, folks. Take care. Bye.